Hey everyone, thanks for joining me on the second part of the DSLR camera trapping video, and I want to start this one on a bit of a different note. I want to talk about biology. In my opinion, biology is one of the most important factors in wildlife photography, and in fact I think it's one of the four cornerstones of any great or at least good wildlife photo. The other three being, of course, the knowledge of photography, photographic techniques, knowledge of the technical side of the equipment and things like that. And another one, of course, being ethics, which is really important in wildlife photography, is being honest. And then the last cornerstone is fieldcraft or bushcraft, so the knowledge of the environment that you're in and the knowledge of being able to manipulate different things in nature in order to stay out for prolonged periods of time and things like that. So making fires, making shelters, because sometimes you have to be in a certain environment quite off-grid for a long period of time in order to get some nice pictures. And all of these four cornerstones, I think, are there to replace luck. So if you're more of a beginner wildlife photographer, or if you don't have all of this knowledge of all of these four things that I just mentioned, then you have to depend on luck. And the better you get in all of those four areas, the more you start to supplement luck with knowledge. So today we're gonna be talking about biology of the European otter. Its Latin name is Lutra, and it's actually a representative of the marten family. It's actually in central part of Europe. It's the largest marten that exists. The average otter is about 3 feet or 1 meter long from head to tail and is about 30 centimeters tall. They weigh somewhere around 10 kilos, so they're quite large animals, and they're of course carnivores, and their speciality is that they're extremely well adapted to water, so water habitats, and in those habitats they're the keystone species, so they're at the top of the food chain. And even though they're not as big as some other carnivores in this part of the world, so like they're smaller than, of course, wolves and bears and lynx, in their ecosystem they have a very similar role. So they're at the top of the food chain, therefore they affect all of the other species that are beneath them, and as such they're a really good indicator of the health of different river systems or water systems and habitats like that. Their main prey is fish, but they also eat on freshwater crayfish sometimes. They also are able to catch birds. If they find, of course, birds' nests, they eat the eggs. They eat also other reptiles and frogs and things like that. So all of the animals that you find around water. And that's one of the reasons that they are quite rare, at least in the central part of Europe, because they were always treated as a nuisance through the eyes of the fishermen, because they represented competition for fish. They were not very popular with the fishermen, and even though their range is the biggest of all the otter species, there are 13 otter species around the world. This one, the European otter, has the largest range, that is from all the way from the eastern or central part of western and central part of Europe, all the way to the easternmost part of Russia. So it's a huge range that they inhabit, and in some parts of this range they are really not doing so well. One of the reasons is the one that I mentioned before, and the other one is, of course, habitat degradation. That means pollution of rivers, of waters in general, and stuff like that. So this is just some of the knowledge that you need to have about a certain species in order to photograph it, and certainly for me, for these photographs, it was very important. Of course, in the beginning I had a lucky strike because I found the otter then just by pure luck, but everything after that was consequence of a conscious decision that was made by knowing all of these facts about the animal, and that's of course the biggest reason that we got the picture and we got it so fast. So for instance, knowing that the otter is mainly a nocturnal animal was one of the first factors that determined the whole shoot. I knew from the early on in the beginning that it's only going to be possible with a DSLR camera trap, because I needed to use flashes because the animal is most probably going to come out at night. So that was I guess the photographic part of it, and then the fieldcraft part of it was actually setting up the camera trap on a tree and doing all the things, you know, to mount it and things like that. And of course ethics, you've heard me already in the first part, and now you're gonna see in the second part. I'm always emphasizing that you need to get in quick and you need to get out quick in order to disturb the animal as least as possible. So things like that you can actually now see how they work in practice in order to get a nice shot like this. So I hope this was some useful information for you. I'm gonna delve into each of the subjects that I mentioned earlier, so each of the four cornerstones of wildlife photography in separate videos, because they're really a wide subject, each of them. So now all that's left is for you to see how the rest of the camera trapping went. It didn't go as planned, so I hope you'll enjoy the video, and thanks for watching. We've had a change. We've had a change in the weather. It's been raining like crazy since last night, and all through the night it's been downpouring, and even now it's around noon and it hasn't stopped. So normally that wouldn't be a problem because the camera trap and all of its components are weather sealed and they're watertight, but we've placed it just like a meter or a meter and a half above the water level. And the river that flows here is a karstic river, which means that it fluctuates a lot. So when you get rain, heavy rain, it can rise overnight for a meter, 2 meters, sometimes it even floods the surrounding grasslands. And also when it stops raining, it drains really quickly. So I've decided not to risk it, and I'm gonna go check out the camera. I'm gonna see what's going on, and then I'll decide if I can leave it or if I have to pack it up and bring it back home. Back into the bush. It's just never easy. Wow, I've just made a really nice discovery. I have to be quick about it because I just saw a female blackbird fly off a tree, and I've decided to check it out, and this is what I found. Look at this. It's her nest, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 eggs in there. This is amazing, but I think I'll just leave here really quickly so she can return to the nest. Okay, so we're getting close to the den site, but this is what's in front of me, so I don't know how I'm gonna get through it. It's just super thick brush, and right now it's all wet, so I'm not looking forward I'm not looking for it for going through here. Okay, so we're here at the hole, and I can already see that it was a good idea to come here. The water levels, however, are okay, but look what happened here with the camera trap. And before I go to the trap, I'll just see if there are any fresh marks here, and there are some right over here. So maybe we already got lucky with the camera trap. The camera trap is working, the dog set it off. Just have to be careful not to fall into the water. But look at what happened. The cloth got over the lens, which is not ideal. So we'll just take it off. And I think I'll actually just set it up before I leave. And for now I'm just gonna turn the sensor off so the dogs don't disturb the camera. But otherwise it all looks okay. So now we're just gonna check the small trail camera if we got anything on that, and then we'll quickly set up the DSLR camera and leave as fast as possible. Okay guys, so I've checked the trail camera and we got lucky because there's an otter on there. I'll try to show you here. Look. This is the picture. This is the otter going into the hole. So if we're really lucky, we even got something on the DSLR camera trap. Okay, so I've just checked out the DSLR camera trap and we have otter on there already after 3 days, so that's amazing success. I've decided to leave the camera as it is because the water levels are okay and the rain is kind of dying down, and I hope to get some more results. This is really exciting. I'm really happy about it. Okay, so this is the last stop for the day. It's actually a water monitoring station just upstream from where we were at the otter site. And I've stopped here because there's a water level measure or water level gauge, and I can just take a picture of it, so I'll know what the water level was today. When I know that it was okay, that we have probably about 1 meter or 2 of clearance, and the next time I can just come here, check out the water level if it's gonna be rising, and not even bother the otter. So that was all for today. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for tuning in. Hey everyone, we're back at the otter cam again, and we're just in time. This is only the next day, and look at where the water's at right now. And I'm sorry for the poor sound quality, but it's pouring down so much that I only brought the watertight camera with me. So check out the water levels today. This is 24 hours after we were here yesterday. Look at this. This is crazy. This is the camera. The water's gone up at least 1 meter or 1.5 meters, something like that. And maybe just like an hour later, the camera would have been flooded. So I'm just in time. Wow, we're just back at the car, And I'm sorry I didn't take the DSLR camera with me, but it's pouring down with rain, so I just took the waterproof camera with me. So the sound of the rescue of the DSLR camera trap is gonna be a bit low quality, but nothing's changed from yesterday. When we were here at the camera, maybe an hour later it started to rain again, and it was pouring down through the night, so I had a really poor sleep. And then in the morning, and as soon as it got light, I got back here, and you saw that it was just in time, because if it was an hour later, the DSLR cam trap would be underwater. So we're lucky that we got the otter pictures on there. We're lucky that we saved the camera and the flashes. We're not so lucky because I'm wet. I had to actually get into the water to get the second flash of the tree, but okay. All in all, it's a success. I can't wait to get home and to look at the pictures on the computer. I think we got some really nice pictures. And now we're gonna just do one more stop. We're gonna stop at the water monitoring station just to show you how much the water levels have changed in under 24 hours. So let's check out the water level. It must have gone up at least 2 meters or even more. And actually, look at this. Do you remember where I was standing at the bottom of this stairs yesterday? So the water was 40 centimeters below the number 1. And now it's at number 2 mark, which means meters. So that means that it's gone up 1 meter and 60 centimeters, if I remember correctly. We'll look at the picture that I took yesterday, but I think 1 meter and 60 centimeters. And that means that if I was standing where I was standing yesterday, maybe just my head would be above water. So this is how much the river fluctuates. But anyway, so all ended well. We'll take a look at the pictures, and that's it. Let's get dry, let's get home.